Hey everybody, just make sure before you get into this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell so that way you can be notified every week that we drop a new episode. Thanks so much. Now let's get into the episode.
This that block talk. This that block talk. This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. Ain't it out of cold? This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. Ain't it out of cold? This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. Ain't it out of cold? This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. Ain't it out of cold? This that block talk. Block stakes down now for love. Trap talk. Ain't it out of cold?
Really fucking able as a man to get slapped, to get spit. I think spit on a different level. No, I know, but I'm saying to me, in my mind, the spit is just there.
Yeah, and then after this, I'm going thrifting with Slim.
Did he curtsy?
Like thrifting after this. Huh?
Did he curtsy when he said bet?
He did not curtsy like he did on the pool table. But yeah, I'm kind of excited. I ain't never been because even just like shopping the sales rack, I got me like this dope ass fucking bucket hat for like $4. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, because I don't usually like do like that shit. Because like when I go shopping, I'm weird, dog. Like I literally just like I go for a beeline of exactly what I'm looking for. I grab that shit and then I'm fucking gone.
Yeah, if I go to a store, I do it like that. But if I'm thrifting, I'm actually like looking for shit because it's hard for me to shop because I got broad shoulders, so I just have to buy 2X just to fit my shoulders and then sew it and like hem it up so that way it has a better fit on my sides or my arms. Because otherwise, so the shoulder line right here, most t-shirts like a large fit me here, and then so the sleeves are super short. So it's always like a battle to try to find something that fits.
But I'm gonna let you know there's probably gonna be background noise on this shit because it's already hot in the motherfucker here in Texas. So my AC is kicking like kung fu. I'm talking about my shit looking like Jackie Chan and Jet Li done had a baby. Just
Don't worry, we got DaVinci Resolve. It takes care of all that.
Like he was saying, like you gotta make like a day of it. He's like you want to set aside like a couple hours. He's like that way you actually get a chance to like shop. But me is like the problem with me is like I don't have the patience for it, bro. I just get bored because I'm like I want to go home now because I don't have like a lot of downtime. So for me, I'm like I'm trying to maximize like downtime because I'm like oh because we're also going out later tonight or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like oh we could thrift for like a couple hours and then we'll like dip out. And to me, a couple hours is a couple hours. It's 2 fucking hours. I'm like, that's plenty of time to find some shit. He's like, nah, son, like this is an event. I'm like, ooh wee boy. So after we do this, I'm gonna hit me a 30-minute power nap and then fucking dip out.
Yeah, thrifting it's a couple hours. Like when I do it, it's a whole day. And even so, like in Reno, there's like six or seven thrift shops. There's more, but there's only six that I hit regularly because most of them, unless you're going for specific things, so some are more like housewares and furniture, others are more for clothes, others are more for like electronics. So whatever I'm hunting for, um, actually, well, no, never mind. I got my fake background covering it, but in other videos, you might have seen I had a bunch of shit on some shelves back here, and a lot of it is stuff I find at thrift shops that either I keep for myself or I post on eBay to flip because they're good deals. But if they don't sell, oh well, I'll keep it because I mean they're pretty cool little background things, anyways. But yeah, you can't just do it in 2 hours, and I miss Houston because of that. Because I could do a weekend, I could hit at least maybe half of Houston's thrift store, or maybe a quarter, because there's way too many to try to do in one day, or even just go pawn shopping for tools or whatever, you know.
The first place we're going to, I think he was saying they're having like a quarter sale, like all like they have like a quarter rack or some shit like that. And he was like, man, he's like, you find some real gems in that hole. I'm like, that's crazy, bro. So like I said, I've never been thrifting, so I'm gonna let Schlim guide me. And like I said, the good thing is me and Slim have very different styles. So you know what I'm saying? Like we never have to be like, oh damn, that shit would have been dope if he wouldn't have found it first type shit. Because he said that does happen sometimes. You go thrifting with people, and you like find us like y'all got the same type of style, and then one of y'all will find something and be like, damn, wish I would have found that though. Y'all listen to this. Welcome to Block Talk, by the way.
Oh yeah, hey, how y'all doing today? Do you have a quarter on you or a coin?
Do I have one?
Yeah, because I got a.
I don't use change. I'm plastic everything.
Because I got a shitty penny, and I was gonna say like to do our topic today because I have one of two, but they're both good ones, and I wanted to pick something that would.
I got a bottle
good.
cap.
Ah, fuck it. There we go. So, fuck, I don't even want to say it. Crown up would be my pick. Crown down would be your.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. What do we got?
Picking it up exactly how it is, gal. That way you can look at it. Crown up.
Crown up. So then my pick was you don't find a spouse in a bar. The other one would have been the double standard thing you were talking about.
Real quick before we start. Again, because I feel like I have to say this disclaimer because people are morons. I mean, I get it. You're seeing a clip or whatever. But the things that we say are generalities. That does not mean that they apply to all women. That does not mean they apply to all people. We are aware of that. Just because you don't agree with somebody, by the way, also does not automatically mean they're an incel. That's like the number one thing that I've heard just thrown around, bro. Incel alert. I'm like, I guess, dog. I said just because we say some unflattering shit about women, gotta be an incel. I'm like, sure, dude, whatever. But yeah, that was the number one was incel alert, and then the second one was I don't think anybody likes to be touched if they don't have permission, whether it's a guy or a girl, because you know they're talking about how we said it's easier for women just to be able to go grab women out of nowhere and shit like that. And so y'all should go check out that episode. By the way, it's called Shorty. It's a little quick 30-minute episode from when Guy was in Houston. So if y'all want to go check that episode out, but yeah, they just took that shit out of context where they were like, well, I don't think anybody likes to be touched. And I'm like, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying everybody can do it, not everyone will be okay with it. It's just that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll have to start every line
Use some
with
context, goddammit.
Yeah, I'm going to start every line with generally speaking, and then go in.
I'm gonna put a disclaimer flash on every fucking clip from now on. Disclaimer.
Oh yeah, all
right, now let's get into it.
That's a hard part of clips to begin with, just with the editing, because you got to get stuff enough context to either know what you're talking about or give a cliffhanger so they go watch the episode. But still, you can't get enough in there. Anyways, so generally speaking, you're not going to find a spouse in a bar, just because the type of mentality of people that go to bars all the time. Bars in and of themselves are just like hookup spots. You know, either you're there to either show off or find somebody, or, you know, it's usually sex related. You're not going there just to drink with friends, unless you got a friend that comes in out of town and, you know, we all go play pool together. But generally speaking, when you go to a bar or a club, you're going there to find someone to hook up with, or take your girl out to go dancing. But usually it's to find someone else because you're not bringing sand to the beach. So the point of it is, if you want to find a spouse, because a lot of people, or a lot of the stuff I've been seeing on social media lately is women saying, oh, well, when I find a masculine man to put me in my place, then I'll be feminine with him. But if you're always presenting as masculine, if you're always being a little bitch to everyone around you, guys are like, okay, she's not the one for me, but she's the one for tonight. And women don't seem to see that. They seem to think, oh, a guy that's going to be masculine enough to make her put her in her place, to make her behave as though she's feminine, then she'll go ahead and do that for that guy. But the guy that can do that doesn't want to have to put up with it. Because if he wants to deal with masculine energy, he can do that with his homeboys whenever they go out shooting the shit and busting each other's balls. But when you're going out to find someone to date, normally, or the best practice, I think, to find someone to date that's going to last long term, is not trying to find women in bars. It's trying to find women in other places, in natural settings where you go out and meet them. But people want to argue the point, well, I had a friend and I met them, or I had a friend and they met their spouse at a bar and they're happily married and they've been together for 10 years. It can happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. What I'm saying is the most likely chance of having a successful relationship, a successful marriage, is finding someone outside of a bar or outside of a club. Because in those places, your mentality is already there for a hookup. So your respect for each other is kind of lower than you would have for someone that you would want to go out on a date. And I'll give you an example. So last time I was in Houston, I went on a date with this girl. Actually, I went on a couple of dates, but one of them, this girl stands out because when we were on the date, we went out to eat. We sat there and had a conversation, and there were so many times that I just wanted to lean in and kiss her. But the way or the respect that I have for her, I didn't do it because I know that she has one of those personalities of just a good girl. And it's not like it's a front. It's everyone who knows her, all of my friends that know of her, know who she is. Like, oh yeah, no, she's legit. She's a good girl. She doesn't do anything unless she's in a serious relationship. And so I knew that I couldn't overstep those boundaries. However, with other girls, two of them I met at a bar. One of them met at Fabian's. This little 25-year-old. I mean, we were having fun within a couple hours of me meeting her, and it wasn't even, what is her name? I don't even remember her name. I just know that, I met her at a bar and, I could do whatever I wanted with her. She didn't stop me. She didn't say no. She didn't want to do a certain thing, but that was more of like logistics and, not being able to clean up after. But, still, it's, night and day how I react and how I treat women is if I have a respect for you, then I'm going to treat you like a lady. If I don't have respect for you, I'll treat you like a lady in public. But once we're alone, all bets are off.
It's funny you bring that up. So I actually talked about this with my sister earlier this week because shout out to Jackie, one of my sister's friends. She met her man at a bar. But listen, this is the thing though, right? He's a bartender. He's not a patron. He's a bartender. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So my sister's like, oh, Jackie met her man at a bar or whatever. And I was like, that's different though. I said, because one, again, her man works at the bar. And then second, I said, and my sister don't like when I say type shit like this, but I told her, I said, your friend's different though. And she's like, what you mean? I said, bro, I've been out with y'all. Like, she goes to the bar dressed like a dude. Like, she wears like oversized t-shirts, you know what I'm saying? And like some jeans, you know what I'm saying? With some sneakers type shit. Like, she's not like a real girly girl or whatever. So she like really plays herself down, you know what I'm saying? She had quit drinking for a while, so I know she wasn't drinking or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? I was like, she on a different type of time than y'all are. I said, because y'all are going, her and her other friend, they're going like getting dressed up, dolled up, and getting drunk and stuff like that. Which I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that, but I'm saying you're also putting out a certain image to where guys will only view you a certain way. Again, this is not saying that guys won't take you seriously. Disclaimer. This is a general accusation. Some dudes, they not gonna take you serious because in their mind, you're also only here to hook up. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, there are some girls that are there, or some women. There are some women that are there that they're like, I just want to have fun tonight, and I don't want to think about this dude that's been leaving me on red or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to have a fun night with somebody and then not know their name the next day. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's just when you go out to like a club setting type shit, you usually got to curve like your expectations. Or like I said, I might like if I go to like a dancing club, I'll go to a dancing club. I might get a girl's number, and then like I said, I'll try to talk to her the next day so we can actually have some like FaceTime. Because when you're out at a club, also it's hard to get to know somebody. Music's blaring, y'all are dancing. There's a lot of sweaty drunk people bumping into you and shit like that. So it just kind of depends. I remember one time I met this chick at a bar, well, at a salsa club, and we danced or whatever, and then she gave me her number. And the next day when I hit her up and invited her to coffee, we went to go get coffee. And the next day while we were talking, she tells me, she's like, oh man, honestly, like, I didn't think I would hear from you. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I thought it was just like a drunk nothing that you just like thought I was cute or whatever because, you were drunk and this shit. I was like, I wasn't even drunk. I was like, I don't get drunk when I go out. And she's like, oh. And she's like, oh, it's just like you had like a lot of energy. You were smiling a lot. I was like, I'm a happy person, man. My bad, dog. That's on me, son. My bad. But like I said, man, I also like to hit on people in public. I know some people find it more like terrifying to go up to somebody at Target. Because I don't know why. I was talking to somebody, man, and they were telling me, they're like, oh, it feels like I'm bothering people when I go talk to them, like when they're shopping or doing something. And I'm like, bro, if she's that busy, or you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to say something. They're going to be like, oh no, thank you. You know what I mean? Like the worst she could say is no. You're not gonna get pepper sprayed in the aisle. I mean, not unless you're being a creep, but if you just like say, hey, excuse me, I just saw you by the radishes over there. Thought you were good looking. Wanted to come say something. Mostly she might giggle and shit like that and be like, "Oh, thank you so much. Like I got a boyfriend, I got a husband, whatever the fuck she gonna say." You know what I mean? But don't be scared. Something the worst she could say is no. And like I said, that's the mentality I got. Though.
Speaking of Target, like that's my favorite favorite stomping grounds, and it's not even like I'm going there every weekend or every day to try to hook up, but whenever my harem like just thins out down to like 2, well, I kind of like get my numbers back up just to make sure I'm not lagging behind or have something to do whenever I want to do something, uh and usually I prefer more of an indirect approach instead of just going straight up, hey, I find you attractive, here's my number. That can work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it won't work. I just prefer more of reading for vibes and making them laugh to make sure that like there's some type of connection before, because I used to give out my number like that, just kind of all shotgun, just, hey, I think you're attractive, here's my number. And I would give my number out to maybe 20 girls and I'd get maybe 3 texts, and it was just kind of like, oh, hey, they're being polite, just taking the number, whatever. They might have thrown it away, it might have gotten lost, it might have gotten washed, who knows, whatever. But whenever I make the connection with them, where I like bump into them, or not even bump into them, just like I'm standing in an aisle, like, hey, you know what, I don't normally cook that much, I'm more of a baker. Do you have any recipes for whatever aisle we're in? If we're in the Mexican aisle, like, I might know some stuff, but if we're in the pasta aisle or whatever aisle we're in, I'll say, hey, do you know any recipes that are kind of easy, like 2 or 3 ingredients? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't know what a recipe is, or so other than simple recipes. But if they do, they'll often suggest something. Oh yeah, there's so-and-so, or Google this. This is the one I usually use, or check out this website and just tell them the ingredients you want. Like they'll kind of give me advice because I'm asking for help. I'm not telling them, hey, you want some dick. I kind of like just lay the groundwork of I'm a human being. I see you as a human being. All right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go around the next aisle. And eventually you bump into them again. When I see them again, I'll do something or say a joke along the lines of, oh, hey, are you stalking me? Are you following me? If you really want my number, you just got to ask for it. Whatever, just something to make them laugh. If they laugh at that, then I'll go ahead and give them my business card. And in those instances, out of 10 times I give out my number, usually 8 message me back or call me up and say, hey, that was cute, blah, blah, blah. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go out for coffee. Let's go have a date, or keep having a conversation from there. So for me, I prefer to have better batting average, so to speak, where not only do I swing, but at least I get a base hit or a home run from those versus just swinging at everything and having a low batting average. But again, that's just me being older, me having more patience, and me having more time to just play the long game, essentially.
Yeah, like say if I bump into somebody again, I'll be like, man, we gotta stop bumping into each other like this. People are already talking. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that, just dumb shit. It's like most women like dumb shit like that. They're like, oh my god, that's so cute. You know what I mean? Because again, man, that goes back to what we talk about in further episodes, where they're like just kind of practicing things that you're gonna say. You know what I mean? When it comes out nice and natural, they like that shit. They're like, okay, he's a nice, confident young man or whatever the fuck. I remember one time I did some dumb shit. This is like, I was really young at the time. Well, I say really young. I was 19. I was 19 years old. I was shopping for flowers. I think like at a or HEB, some shit like that. They got the like flower displays or whatever. So I go over there and I'm looking for flowers, and this girl shows up, and like she's hot or whatever, and she's like looking at some flowers, and I say, hey, excuse me, could you help me out? And she's like, help you out with what? And I said, I'm just wondering, what kind of flowers would a woman like you like? And she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, somebody who's young, attractive, beautiful. What kind of flowers do they like? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm really lost here. I don't know what kind of flowers to get. And then normally they'll laugh, giggle or whatever at the compliment and be like, oh, well, me personally, I like roses. And I'm like, all right, thank you so much. And then I'll grab the roses and then I'll dip out. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just like leave the flower section or whatever the fuck. Leave the flower section. And then like, I'll go pay for the flowers immediately. I'll pay for the flowers and then I'll go do the rest of my shopping. That way, when I inevitably bump into her later, because the supermarket's only so fucking big, and then I bump into her again, and I'll be like, oh my god, like I don't know if it's my sixth sense or something like that, but I just feel like you really like roses, and I think you're beautiful and you deserve to have some. And then I'll give her these roses I paid for that she clearly set herself up for. That she's like, oh shit, like I didn't see that shit coming. You know what I mean? And I'm just, it's just little shit, man. Like this shit is too easy. Whereas if you're in a club setting, you can't do no shit like that. Like I said, most of the thing is like, and this is another thing too that I find very important that I don't do anymore. That I just kind of realized it's more of a posture thing. Like leaning really close into a girl because like you're taller than her, leaning really close into her to basically yell in her fucking ear. Like that shit's not attractive. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like I said, I'll dance, use a little bit more body language, and then like if I have to say something and she can't hear me, I just pull my phone out and like I'll type it out on a note or some shit like that, and then I'll show it to her. Or you know what I'm saying? I'll go like this so that way she could get closer to me because that way it's like a you know what I mean? She's coming to you type thing. It's kind of like a small subtle way of you know showing masculinity, which I know some people think is like that's the dumbest shit ever. There's no way that that fucking matters, and it's like it's a subconscious thing. Because if you ask a girl, she'll tell you like that's dumb. That doesn't make a difference. And little does she know it's fucking working on her.
So with the roses, that's a grand slam. It's a big risk too because you know you have to be able to read body language. This is again stuff from experience. You can go out and give this a try yourself. Where you know whatever you want to do, live your life. You know you're gonna miss all the shots you don't take. But keep in mind, some of the bigger shots you try to take are also bigger risks. So, you know, understanding body language, having being comfortable talking to women, sometimes being nervous can work in your favor because it shows or it seems that you're not a player, you're not always doing this. So coming off as nervous and saying, oh, hey, I don't normally talk to pretty girls like you. What do you think? A pretty girl like you, what type of flower would you like? You know, that could work as well. But again, it's still a big risk. And again, this is also why I prefer to meet women out in public, out in the real world, versus trying to find them in bars. Unless I'm just trying to get it in, yeah, I'll go to a bar, I'll go to a club. But if I want to have a relationship, I try to steer clear from that because that's not gonna. Those usually don't last. Even if something works out, it just kind of, in my experience, really haven't last. I have not had any lasting relationships with girls that I've met in bars or clubs because they don't act right. They're just still in that mentality of always want to be in a club and a bar. But again, like to your point about leaning in and being loud and trying to yelling in their ear, you know, that's also, I'm 6'1", Boogie's 5'11", 5'10", whatever. We're tall. And so whenever we're next to women are usually shorter. Women by and large are 5'5" or shorter. So you lean in too close to them, you have to hunch over. You're leaning on top of them. So you're towering over them, invading their space, and they've got nowhere to go. Yeah, you're cool when you're just dancing with them, talking to them, whatever. But now that you're leaning in, now you're a little more imposing. Now you're forcing your energy on them, you know, that kind of thing. And it can make them uncomfortable and not give them the ick, but give them fear that sometimes that kind of fear works. Girls are turned on by fear. It's a small subset of women that are, generally speaking. But for the most part, you want to let them come to you and show them that you can lead and that you are safe. And it's kind of like the biggest thing that if you've noticed throughout all of our episodes here that I've had this season with Block Talk here with Boogie, is that we have to be leading the women to make them feel safe around them so that they're comfortable to be around us and want to do whatever they want for them to want to do whatever we want with them because they feel safe and comfortable, that we're not going to abuse them or use them or talk about them later. Sure, we might talk about, oh yeah, I did something with the woman, but I'm not going to go and say, oh yeah, Susie Q homemaker at 123 Main Street loved to do ass to mouth on the first date. You'll never hear me say that, giving real names and giving real situations about people, because I still keep that for myself as kind of like a personal memory that I don't have to share, and I'm selfish. So going back to the whole thing is, you're not going to find a wife in a bar.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've had a few relationships come out of like women that I've met at bars and stuff like that. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all and be like I haven't had any relationships, whatever. But like I said, the two long term ones that I've had, that one of them wasn't even that long term. It was like 6 months and stuff like that. Uh, Again, yeah. if you found her in a club, it's usually because she's of that mindset, like I want to be in clubs right now and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you do meet women at the club and stuff like that, and when they start talking to a dude, they just switch all the way up. Because there was one girl that I was with, I started talking to her when I met her at the club, and then afterwards, literally I asked her, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like me and her were hanging out, and I was like, what are you doing later today? And she's like, oh, my friends are going out, but I'm just gonna stay home. And I said, "Oh, you're not gonna go out with your friends?" She's like, "No, like I got you. I'm not gonna go out without you." And you know what I'm saying? Because they also kind of know what it takes also to kind of get a man. You know what I mean? But then there's also girls that like they want to go out with you and shit like that. And then the next weekend, you're like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend? I want to go out with you." She's like, "Oh, I already have plans with my homegirl." And she's already booked for the next couple months, already going out with her friends and shit like that. Which again, nothing wrong with that. It's just that like me myself, I'll tell her I'll be like, well, I don't really uh, date women seriously who like to like go out all the time. Like they go on girls trips, they go on girls nights out or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? But that's my personal preference. And again, the longest relationship I ever had was like 2 years with a girl that I met in a club, and it didn't go good. You know what I'm saying? Because again, she was still in that phase. She was in that party phase of her life where she's like, I just want to be out. And it started off with us just hooking up, and then it kind of just grew into a thing. And then next thing you know, I don't want to say we wasted 2 years of our lives because there are good memories or whatever, but it is kind of a waste because it's like I should have seen earlier. It's back when Boogie was still simping and shit like that. So Boogie done lost a lot of time and shit like that, but it is what it is. And damn, I was gonna say something. Yeah, man. Again, there are exceptions to every rule, but that does not mean that the rule does not magically apply because of that. There's an exception. You know what I mean? Because again, just because one of your friends found his wife or significant other at a bar and they're cooling, great for them. That don't mean the shit gonna work out the same for you. That's just like that's why I say, man, like we give dating advice, but this is also not like I know some people want like bullet points where they're like, okay, tell me what to do, step 1, 2, 3. And it don't really work like that, bro, because like you're different. You're charismatic for your own reasons, or you're shy, or you know what I'm saying, this is your best attribute, or like you're funny, or you're just naturally fucking good looking, or you're fit, or you know what I'm saying, or you can become all these things. It's different, man. That's why like whenever y'all text us or like message us on Instagram, a guy will tell you, man, I look at everything and I'll message a little bit and then I'll screenshot it and send it to Gaio and then we'll both be talking about it. Which, bringing that up, we're actually gonna have a guest next week, guys. So I'm not gonna. That's all y'all gotta know. We're gonna have a guest next week. He reached out to us on Instagram. So like I said, if you have any questions or you want to talk to us about anything, let us know, man. Let us know what's up. We're here to help you guys out.
As we've all said, we're talking about generally speaking. Most of the time, usually, we're not saying that this is always going to be the case. It's always going to be true. There can be a time 20, 30 years from now, 5 years from now, that the script can flip on us and we won't know how to handle or manage or navigate this. But I would think that we still have the tools or the skills or the ability and the wisdom from having past experiences with women to be able to navigate it when things change later. Like now, I don't like using dating apps. I usually am better at them when I travel. But for the most part, dating apps are just not skewed to help or work in men's favor. Even if it's something like Bumble where the women have to reach out first, it's still a lot of women don't even know that they have to reach out first on Bumble. I have several friends that they get messages saying, oh, I didn't know I had to message you first, and have missed out on a lot of opportunities because Bumble, if I'm not mistaken, is you have a match and then it's only good for a couple of days. And if she doesn't message you, then it disappears. But again, I don't use dating apps that much. Boogie might have more experience with dating apps. You might have more experience with different things. I know I can help with talking to people in person and getting to know them that way. That's my experience. That's my strongest suit. That doesn't mean I don't know how to text and have banter that way and read subtext between the lines, but you can't accommodate for every texting situation because you have to know how will you know the girl beforehand. You have to know how well or how receptive she is to sexual jokes. You have to know how long you've known each other. your age difference might even play a factor. If they're a lot younger than you, like for me, a 20-year-old woman, I can't talk to her the same way I can talk to a 30-year-old woman. So a lot of things come into context that you can't always help for every situation. But what we can help you with is for the day-to-day in-person situations that you have with women or men. You know, women, we can help you as well to help you understand the guy's mentality. But anyone who listens should be able to take a step back and not say, well, that's not what I see. That's understandable. We're telling you what we've seen through a broad spectrum of things. It's not just our experiences. We're also talking about guys that reach out to us, friends that we have from our past and current friends that we have nowadays that talk to us and tell us, oh, hey, you know, I have this problem with the woman, or I have this problem with my boyfriend, I have this problem with my husband, whatever the case may be. Particularly myself, because my background, I've had it's 13 years now that I've been associated with roller derby. That's thousands of women that I've had conversations with, from anything from the sport itself, up to sex, up to marriage, up to relationships, up to being widowed, although that's only in the past 5 years. So take advantage of the knowledge that we have, that we're willing to share. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not trying to prove that we can do whatever we want with women, because we do get shut down. We do get rejection, but we're better at searching out women to not get rejected in the first place. If we do get rejected, it's because we missed reading a cue, or we didn't notice something beforehand, or we find out later that, oh, you know what? I'm not clean shaven. Boogie's got too much hair on his head, whatever. It's always going to be something. So you're not always going to bat 1,000.
Yeah, man, I've lost out on women just because I have a beard. Like, some women just like don't like beards. Like, they don't like facial hair. They're like I literally went to go hit on a chick, and she literally like grabbed my face, and she was like, "You're cute, but I don't like this. Would you shave it for me?" And I'm like, "No." And then she's like, "Sorry." And I was like, "Okay." But anyway, as far as dating apps go, by the way, Bumble, it's a 24 hours. If she don't reach out by literally a day, and most women, because their shit blows up so often, turn off notifications on their dating apps. Because I've definitely uh matched with a chick, and then the match expires or whatever, and then later on, you know, she'll run into me again and then match with me again because she'll like re-like me or whatever the fuck. So like I said, man, and for me, like, I remember when I was first getting back into dating, because like the way I got like this, man, like, and I say it all the time, I think trauma sometimes is a good way to positively change your life sometimes, because a traumatic event happens, and then sometimes, you know, you're at a crossroads. You can either like go down this dark abyss, you know what I'm saying, or you can start to change for the better. You know what I mean? So you got to take that traumatic event and, you know, learn from it. So for me, I was with a woman. I literally had like proposed to her. Me and her were gonna we were engaged or whatever. We were gonna get married, and then she ended up cheating on me, and then left me because she's like, I don't want to be with you no more or whatever. So she did that. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, I was in a dark place for a little bit, and I felt like really like I had low self esteem and shit like that. And then I started working out. I started losing weight. I fucking hopped on dating apps to try to help build my confidence, because, like I said, I would start matching with women, and I would just at first I was playing the running man. Like, I'm literally, my phone screen's like this, and I'm just yes on everybody. But because that way I could practice my conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because I got so intimidated going out, because I'm like, oh my god, she knows I got cheated on. She knows I'm not worth like being with in a relationship, and blah 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 blah. You know, like getting really into your head. And you know, it's okay to feel like that, you know what I'm saying? But you got to work to get out of that mindset. So for me, I use dating apps. I literally had we talked about it way fucking before, but Tinder, Chispa, Bumble, and a fucking other one. I had like 4 or 5 dating apps where literally I was just practicing talking to women, and I would practice talking, and then I would try to get a date, and then, you know, I started getting better to where I was being more concise and getting her off the apps. Then we would meet up, and then that would let me practice in person to kind of talk to her. And then, like I said, it's all baby steps, dog. We're not telling you to go out here and hit home runs. You know what I mean? Like, we're not telling you, hey, tonight you need to get your fat ass off your couch, go to the fucking bar, and you see that hot red-headed chick over there. You go up to her and you tell her, "What's up, baby? I've been listening to Block Talk, bitch. I'm on my gangster shit right now." Like, no, son. I mean, that'd be cool if you did send me that video, but I mean, I'd love it, but I'm not saying you got to do that. That's not a got to situation.
I mean, if you do that, let us know if it's a swing or a miss.
Tag us. Tag us in the video. I want to have your friend take a video of that.
That'll be fucking amazing. But the likelihood of it working is slim.
And we're not talking about Slim Burton. It's slimmer than that. Slimmer than that. Big shout out to Slash World Radio.
Right. Crap. It is so many things. The best thing to do is, even if you're introverted, because you can still get a girlfriend, you can still get into a relationship, you can still get laid if you're introverted, if you're unattractive. It's a more difficult climb for you because you're starting below sea level. All these guys are trying to climb Mount Everest, and you're starting halfway in the ocean because you're too afraid to talk to women. That's like the starting point. So if you are introverted, just give this a try. Say hi to 10 people today. You go out in public, you see someone, nod your head at them, wave at them, say hi. Don't expect anything. Don't try to get anything out of it. Just wave and say hi, or just say hi to someone that you don't know. Get used to getting out of your comfort zone. Get used to coming out of your shell a little bit, because you're going to have to do that to be able to get a relationship. Because the woman that you want to date, you don't know her. So she's still a stranger to you. You're still going to have that conversation. You're still going to have to take those steps. So practice saying hi. Do that for a week. Once you get comfortable, try, hi, my name is whatever your name is. And go on. If they introduce themselves and you have a conversation, great. But just get into your head that you're going to take baby steps until you're comfortable, until you're confident with that step to take the next step. And it's going to be a long, painful road, because you're going to suffer. You're going to have your anxiety. You're going to have your emotions that are going to be bothering you. And you're going to be in your head overthinking things. Just try to ignore it and try to say, I'm going to do this one little task. Make that little goal, those baby steps, until you can take giant leaps, look back behind you and have your wife or your husband by your side and be able to show them off.
Yeah, man, because nobody likes rejection. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody feels, like I said, when I first started going out, especially for like me, when I first got out of prison, I remember I got out of prison and my dad wanted to take me out. So my dad's like, "Hey, let me take you out. I'm gonna show you a good time. I'm gonna get you drunk your first, weekend out of prison or whatever, so you can have some fun." I said, "Oh, bet, dope, da 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 da." And I wasn't aware of like how prison had affected me to public settings, but like we went out and like I had my back up against the bar like a fucking weirdo the entire time because I felt like overcrowded by just people. And then like I was super nervous to go talk to any woman. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, oh man, like fuck these bitches. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like I just want to be by myself. I feel uncomfortable in the situation. And like I said, man, I kept going out with my dad, little by little and stuff like that. I started taking dance classes, and you get more comfortable, you get more confident. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about. That's where you want to start at, is with confidence, man. And confidence starts with self. Self confidence is always the most important form of confidence that you can have. So do things that make you feel confident. If fucking playing video games makes you feel confident after, you know what I'm saying, you throw that touchdown on Madden or you get a fucking kill streak in Call of Duty, do that for a little bit, and then, you know what I'm saying, use that to be like, you know what, like I feel pretty good about myself. Let me go for a walk, and then you just go for a walk for like 20 minutes. Then, after that little 20-minute walk, you do that a couple times a week. You're like, you know what, maybe I want to join a gym. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I should go say hi to a couple people, just random people. You know what I'm saying? Let it roll into shit. That's what this is. This is like a small, tiny, you know, snowflake on the top of a mountain. Let it roll down. That way, by the time you get to the bottom, you know what I'm saying? You got your nice little avalanche going. It's small little steps that build up. It's not like you're not starting off in a snowstorm, son. You're starting off as a small little snowflake in a flurry. Start off with that, and then just let that shit roll downhill, and use the momentum to carry you forward, my wayward son. Great song.
Yeah, I love how you like you start on one thing, you go somewhere else, you still come back to it somehow, but you're like around the corner. It's just funny. Because when you start off with the whole video games, when you start with the whole video game things, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to cut you off. We're gonna have to butt heads, but you brought it around well nicely. And like we've been trying to tell you, hopefully you take some of the advice. We're not telling you to listen to everything we say. We're not telling you to do exactly what we say and everything that we do. Take what fits. Hopefully you take enough of what we tell you and apply it to your life and make it work. Don't try to pick bits and pieces though, because doing that, you might get the order wrong. You might do something out of place, but just kind of pay attention to what we're saying, the overall point of what we got for you. And, if you want to just have fun, yeah, go to a bar, go to a club. But if you want to settle down, have a serious relationship, have a girlfriend, have a wife, you're probably not going to find her there.
I talked about it a couple weeks ago, man, where I started, like I said, listening to Fresh and Fit when I would work out. You know what I'm saying? Because I was working out and I literally just typed into YouTube how to talk to women. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you know what, I'm fucking up. I thought everything that I knew was wrong. You know what I mean? And then I just started listening to Fresh and Fit. And like I said, at first I listened to everything that they said, and I did everything how they said it, and then I just dropped what didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that works for me. Like I said, I took everything they were saying, and then I dropped what didn't work. And you can do the same with us, man. Listen to what we say, do that shit, and then if something don't work for you, you can fucking drop it. That's fine. You know what I mean? Or give it another go around, because like I said, sometimes shit don't work on the first try, and that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like I said, trust me, that thing that I did with the roses, that was not the first time I did it, and it definitely had to become a fine tuned machine because there were a few fuck ups along the way. I remember the first fuck up I had. I asked the girl that question, and she was like, "Oh, uh, why do you want to know what kind of flowers a hot girl wants?" And I don't know why, in my dumb ass head, I all of a sudden just immediately thought, I'm like, "Oh, because I'm trying to buy some for my mom." And then the look on her face was aghast. She was like, "Yeah," she was like, "What the fuck?" And I didn't think that shit through because I was like, "There's no way she's gonna ask." So in my mind, I was like, "Oh, for my mom." She's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And it just left. So Boogie fucks up too, man. Like I said, this is a growing process that you can figure out.
Oh, what might have worked, maybe, like in that line was my stepmom. That might have worked a little better, or step aunt. That I don't know, whatever. Step aunt, step cousin.
It would have worked either. See, look, how I got it was like I just changed the reasoning. I just took mom all the way out of it because she's like, "Oh, why?" I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, like one time, I was a real asshole. She asked me, she's like, "Oh, wow, why?" And I was like, "I don't know." You know what I'm saying? Like I just saw this attractive girl not too long ago, and I was just kind of wondering what she might like. And you're just kind of leaving it sort of bland and out there in the ether again. She's not knowing that you're the hot girl that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, be vague. I realized you want to be more vague. Like I said, this is just shit that I learned after time, which is why, like I said, it also helped for me to be for me on dating apps and texting because I could actually read where I fucked up at. You know what I'm saying? Because I would literally look at it like a fucking like a script almost to be like, okay, where did this fucking movie take the wrong turn? You know what I'm saying? And I'll go back and read it and be like, where did I fuck up at? And just because this is another thing too, man. Just because somebody don't get back to you right away does not mean they're not interested. Maybe they're fucking busy. Because there was one time, man, I remember I was texting this chick, and it was the weekend, right? So the weekend come by, and we're texting, we having a good ass time and shit like that. And then the weekday started, and I texted her in the morning, and she didn't text back for like hours, son, like hours. And I remember I was getting worried because now Monday done rolled into Tuesday, I still ain't heard nothing back, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be a creep and text her again Tuesday morning if she didn't reply to Monday morning, la da 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 da. So you know what I'm saying? And then Wednesday rolled around, I still ain't heard nothing. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna text and be like, hey, uh, it was nice meeting you. I hope you have a good day. And that's all I sent. And then she got back to me and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's because I have a work phone and it goes off all day and I mute my regular phone. I saw your message. I thought I replied. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm so sorry. And then we started regularly communicating again. But again, this is like when I first got back into dating. So you overanalyze shit in your head. And don't get me wrong, women overanalyze shit too, man. So don't get like freaked out. That's why, like I said, man, to me personally, if you're just dating, I think you should be seeing a few people just so that way you're not putting all your eggs inside of this one basket, like putting all this energy onto this one person, projecting your insecurities into like, why are they not texting me? Why are they not texting me? Why are they not calling? Why are they not? You know what I'm saying? Because you'll run yourself rampant with that shit, son. Drive yourself up a goddamn wall.
I was laughing when you started that whole story. Of course, this isn't live, but I started laughing as soon as you said that I started texting this one girl on the weekend, and then Monday rolled around. As soon as you said Monday, I knew where this was going. I started laughing, but I thought it was going to go worse than what you'd said. I thought you would have said, well, fuck you, bitch. I didn't want to talk to you anyways. That's where I thought that was going to go. Because you said you were early in your simping game, right? So, and you do that, you done fucked up. Like, you can't come back from that. I don't think I could come back from that. But, again, he still handled it well. Yeah, he had Boogie handled it well because, he's still, okay, just shoot one more shot, fuck it, whatever. Because that can happen where you get busy with work, you forget to text, or you open it up to reply, you don't get to hit send, and you get another message, you close it out, whatever. So now it's on red. You don't have the notification telling you that, hey, you need to reply to this person. So it's just kind of out of your mind because, oh yeah, I typed it out. You just didn't hit send, or they didn't hit send. And so, yeah, it doesn't hurt to send that out. Or even they can actually send you the reply, but it doesn't go through. They could be in a bad cell spot, and then you'll get that whole little thing send as a text message if you're, on green or blue, whatever. And I've had similar situations like that where I'm talking to someone, I thought we're vibing great, and then she just kind of disappears for a while. And it could be anything. Someone's in the hospital, somebody died, some type of emergency, or their phone got stolen. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen. So don't assume that just because something suddenly stops, it's over. But also don't assume that, it's best just not to make any assumptions. Just go with the flow. And like Boogie was saying, having multiple people to talk to until you're ready to settle down, until you're ready to like, okay, this one is showing the most promise. This one is the one that's the most well-behaved. And that's a bad way of phrasing it. I need to figure something else for that. But I look for certain behaviors in a woman that I want to take seriously in dating. And for those behaviors are usually traditional gender roles where they take care of the house, they take care of certain things the way I would like them to do so. And the ones that are like that are not the ones that are going to bars and clubs. They're the ones that are going to meet at Target, who are already cooking, who are already doing things in and around the house, keeping their house nice and neat when they have their free time. So take that as you may.
Yeah, some of y'all be blowing y'all load too, man. Like y'all be texting this one girl and y'all just send like, I like to call them like vomit messages, where you're literally just like typing out a fucking book basically, and you send her a goddamn paragraph, and you're just kind of like overwhelming because you know what I'm saying. It's just starting, bro. Keep it light, keep it fun. Don't put too much pressure. Like conversations are meant to be had in person. Texting is just basically for y'all to communicate in between seeing each other. That's why, like me personally, I don't like texting a lot, son. Like I said, and it's funny because like if a woman texts me and I see my phone, I see it light up and I see that it's a woman, I put my phone back and I'll be like, I'll get to that in like whenever I got some free time. But I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, a guy will text me at 3 in the fucking morning, and I literally pull my truck over to reply to him. You know what I'm saying? But because that's just different. I'm like, listen, man. Like, that's just how I am personally. Like, if my partners text me, my homeboys, my friends, I'm gonna get back to them right away. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's my family, I'll get back to them right away. But if it's a girl, like I said, I'm not gonna stress it because I know she's not gonna stress it either. You know what I'm saying? Because if she is, and again, you shouldn't just fucking assume, but if she is talking to another dude, I know that my message, she'll be like, I'll get to it when I get to it. So I treat the message the same way. I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it'll be like hours till I fucking text back because I drive for a living and I'm busy at work. That's why I tell women, I'm like, listen, man, if you want to call me, call me. But if you want to text me, like, it's going to be a minute for me to get back at you. But if you call me and I'm not doing shit, I'll answer and I'll fuck around. But I tell them, I'm like, but listen, my brother calls me every day at fucking 7 o'clock. It's funny. I got to sit down to a routine. My dad calls me at 5:50 when he hits the work. I answer my dad's phone call. We talk till 6:30. I jam out for 30 minutes. Me and my brother talk from 7 to 8. And then we talk for about an hour, just about, sports, politics, bullshit, whatever the fuck. So you can't cut into them times. But other than that, like I said, from 5:50 to 8 o'clock, I'm unavailable. After that, though, hit my line. We'll be all right.
If you're going to call me, you better be dead and letting me know that you're dead, or you better be calling me to let me know that you're sucking my dick. Like, that's the only reason you need to call me. I don't need to talk to you unless it's in person. But jokes aside, normally that's my line for if a woman's staying over and don't wake me up. Like, if you stay over, I don't care if there's a noise around the house. There's a shotgun right here. All you got to do is pull the trigger. I'll wake up then. Don't wake me up because you heard something sound like a noise down the street. No. There's only 3 reasons to wake me up. Blowjobs, you got food ready to feed me, or you're telling me that you're dead. That's it. I don't need to be woken up for any other reason other than my alarm for work. But as far as texting and calling women, I just don't like being on the phone anymore. Granted, I'm Gen X and I'm used to having been on the phone all the time, but texting easier because you can get to it whenever you need to get to it versus phone calls. You got to sit there and try to have a conversation like, oh, well, now there's nothing to talk about. How about those Houston Oilers? Uh, uh, you just got to find shit to talk about. But when it's more flowing and you get to know each other, then you have easier conversations to have because you already know enough about them to follow up on different things versus trying to be on the phone with what's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite song? That kind of shit gets boring quickly.
Yeah. Well, listen, most women, thank God, don't like talking on the phone either. So they usually don't fucking call me. They're just like, oh, okay, he'll text me back when he has time. But like I said, man, usually I text early in the week, like either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'll send you a text saying I want to see you on the weekend. Like, hey, I want to do something on Friday. I'm free. I'm not working Saturday. Uh, let's meet up at 10:30, 11, whatever the fuck I want to. Or I'll be like, I want to take you dancing. Uh, I'm free Friday night. Do you have any plans? And then that's it. And like I said, she'll get back to it when she gets back to it. And either she'll be like, oh no, I already have plans. Can we do Saturday instead? Which if I have plans Saturday, I'll be like, no, I'm not available, but we could maybe grab a coffee Sunday or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. Don't don't change your fucking plans, son, because I've been in that trap before where like I allowed myself to like change all my plans for a woman. Again, this is back in my early simping days when a girl would be like, "Oh well, I'm not available Friday, but I'm available Saturday after I get like do this with my girls, and then I can squeeze you in before we go out at night." And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, sure, that's okay. I don't mind seeing you for a few hours." You know what I'm saying? She don't respect that shit, son, because your time is valuable, and she should respect that. Just like I said, if y'all make plans, you also shouldn't be a fucking dick either. You should also respect her time. So again, like ladies, just to think that that way y'all don't think I'm just bashing on y'all and shit like that. You know what I mean? Her time is also valuable. You should also take that shit into consideration too. But you should never change your plans for somebody. If you got plans, follow through with your fucking plans and just reschedule for another day.
So with the whole plan thing, that date I had actually before we went to go play pool that night, um, it was funny because like when I was coming into town, like, hey, let's schedule this. Let's do Thursday night. And before I flew out, she says, oh, hey, I forgot this week I'm going to be doing this. Can we do another night or can we do later? And I said, no, sure. You can still make an adjustment. It's those last minute things or less than 24-hour ones that are kind of annoying. And those, I don't think anybody should be someone's backup choice because usually when those things happen, when they like try to change things up on you the last minute, I think that the other person doesn't respect you enough or you're their back burner or their backup choice or their third choice or whatever choice you are, that you're like, oh, hey, my plans fell through with my 3:00 date, but maybe I can squeeze this guy in and have him meet me at 4 because I'm still all dressed up and ready to go and could go do things. So again, it's not just a fact that, you're juggling for them. It's wanting you to realize that those type of situations more often than not is that you're the backup choice, that you're not the first choice for someone. And so they're trying to squeeze you in when they want you or whenever you work best for their schedule because their first choice didn't put them first. So that's where this kind of all comes from. It's not just like telling you, I'm trying to be more like a parent that makes you understand what's going on. And Boogie's going to tell you, hey, just do this, right? Whatever. And it's not always going to be like that. Sometimes you need to explain things better than I am. But for this case instantly, or this particular instance, what I'm talking about is, making yourself available for the person. You shouldn't bend over backwards for them. You should be able to have some leeway. Okay, fine. Traffic, we can't meet up at 7. How about 8 for dinner? Whatever. So still, it's not, there's always some gray area here. So this isn't like set in stone, do what we say. It's just kind of keep things in mind, keep things in perspective, and don't just settle because you deserve better for yourself.
I'm gonna put it how my dad put it, man. Well, my dad told me, I remember like when I first started dating, and I told him that I had changed my plans for this girl. He's like, "Listen, man, if somebody, and again, this goes for either sex, if somebody's not making you a priority, why should you make them a priority?" So, like I said, man, you got to understand that you yourself are worth something. You bring something to the table, whether man or woman. You know what I mean? Like if you feel like you bring something to the table, and you feel like I'm a good individual, I can make this person's life better, and you think that you're worth something more than that, then guess what? you don't have to tolerate that shit, son. That's the thing. That's the craziest part to me. Is like when people complain about relationships, I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't got to put up with that shit. And that's factual. If you feel like you're being undermined or underappreciated, you do not have to put up with that shit. You could leave. And I know that it's hard, and sometimes it feels like it sucks because it's like, oh, but everything's so easy already. We've been together this long. Like, hey, well then put it like this: why you want to waste more time? You know what I'm saying? If shit ain't going good for you, dog, don't waste more time because time is something that we can't get back. I found that shit out from sitting 5 years in a fucking can for the state. You know what I mean? You find out you don't get that shit back, son. This shit is valuable. Use it to the best of your capabilities. And if somebody is stressing you out, nobody's ever worth stress, man. Your partner should make your life easier. Like I said, male, female, non-binary, whatever the fuck. That other person should make your life easier, not harder. Especially when dating. Because dating's the fucking easy part, son. That's the honeymoon stage. Y'all ain't got no fucking bills. Y'all ain't got no fucking kids together. Y'all don't got shit. Marriage is when shit starts to get difficult because then y'all got to actually talk about real shit. But dating, if that shit's not fun and you having all these problems, you need to have the wherewithal to realize, like, maybe me and this person, even though we're both good people, are just not the right people for each other. And there's nothing wrong with that in being an adult. Don't be a fucking child and be like, I have to make this work because for whatever fucking reason. You don't got to make shit work, man.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Don't just give up so easily just because something doesn't go your way. Have a conversation before you give up.
It's the having the same conversation over and over thing for me. Like I said, it's like, I'm not going to just fold immediately. It's I'm going to tell you one time. I'm going to tell you 2 times. And then the 3rd time, I'm going to be like, why the fuck do I have to keep saying this? Like, this did not, again, it's hey, you don't have to have a girls' night every fucking weekend. Like, we can also have fucking plans, or you can stay your ass in the goddamn house. You know what I'm saying? Which goes back to, again, if you're not cool with your girl going out all the time, guess what? If you meet a girl at a bar, that's probably the phase of her life she's in right now. And there's nothing wrong with her being in that phase. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. Just like you were also in that phase because you was out too. And let's be honest, you was probably looking for pussy. You weren't looking for a relationship. And that don't mean they're not out there. But it also means that you don't have to put up with your partner's bullshit either. You don't got to put up with anything if you don't want to. But everything's about actions have consequences and being grown and mature and talking to your partner and being like, hey, let's have a mature conversation. I don't like this, or I don't appreciate this, or this doesn't make me feel appreciated. Again, don't fold immediately. You know what I'm saying? Play cards a little bit. See what's up.
I think that sums it up. And respect your partner.
Your partner's bullshit either. You don't got to put up with anything if you don't want to. But everything's about actions have consequences and being grown and mature and talking to your partner and being like, hey, let's have a mature conversation. I don't like this, or I don't appreciate this, or this doesn't make me feel appreciated. Again, don't fold immediately. You know what I'm saying? Play cards a little bit. See what's up. Yeah, you like how I brought it back at the end, though? See that? It all came back to the bar, guy. It all comes back, baby. It's a revolving door. Well, hey, man, thank you guys so much for checking us out or whatever. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all showing up. And like I said, next week we're going to have a guest. So let's see how that fucking works out. We haven't had a guest with both of us. So we're going to see how that's going. And can't wait to try that out. Because if that does work, I have another guest that I want to bring on to talk to both of us, who has been on Sucias Are My Favorite and Block Talk before. So just a little teaser there. But thank y'all so much. Again, remember, share this aggressively with all of your family members. Send it to your grandma who's 85 and possibly racist and let her know, hey, these 2 Hispanic guys are telling me how to live my life. It's crazy, Gram. And with that, see y'all next week.
I see you, Block.